Greetings, everyone. Happy Tuesday night. Thanks for joining me for a special NAMM Week in Music session interview. Tonight I'm going to be talking with a featured music artist who is taking part in NAMM Believe in Music Week. And I'm going to bring her on. Her name is Joule Ladara. And I see her right there. I'm going to bring her on.
Hi,
Joule,
Matty.
how are you?
Hi. It's been a long day. Whew.
It has. I understand
Yeah.
that. Regular job, and then I came home and I wanted to knock out some NAMM interviews. So
Awesome.
here we are, and
Here we
it's such a
are.
great opportunity for us to get connected last night, how we did. And here we are tonight
Yeah. Well,
talking
thanks so
about
much for the invitation. I really appreciate it. Coming to you
absolutely.
live from Upper Manhattan, New York City,
And
and quarantining with 9 monochords. So if you can't be with people, you might as well be with awesome instruments that make you feel better.
absolutely. Don't you have names for all of them? Well, we can talk about that later, but
Oh,
don't you have
maybe.
one called the Big Boy or something?
The boyfriend.
The Boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah, I was on the right track. So starting off, I mean, Upper Manhattan, how are things going in Upper Manhattan in New York as far as COVID goes? You know, what are some of the things going on?
Well, it's been intense. As you know, New York was the epicenter last spring, and so we went through things ahead of everyone else. And I spent 92 days this spring without going outside, except to take my trash out in the middle of the night 1 day a week. So that was intense. And in the summer, I started meeting up with friends in the park and doing some bike rides and things. So it got better, and now things are tricky again. And New Yorkers, I feel like we've all trauma bonded here. Like it's been tough, but we also feel like a sense of camaraderie that we've gone through something together. But we've also felt so frustrated that we got hit first because of all of the flights that were coming in from Europe for so long. And we should have been the example of what not to do. And we could have kept the rest of the country from going through what they're going through now. Unfortunately, Los Angeles and other places are really, really heartbreaking right now. So for us here, we feel like this was really more avoidable.
Right.
And
Well, continue to
yeah,
stay safe and Happy New Year to you.
thank you so much.
All
Yeah,
right. Well,
thank
let's
you.
talk about the NAMM Week, Believe in Music. You're a featured artist this week for the virtual NAMM. Why don't you talk about how things are going for you with your first experience with NAMM?
Yeah, so much fun. So We Play Well Together is the booth that I am representing, and I'm also doing communications for them. And I have known Gabrielle Spivak, who is the founder of We Play Well Together, for many years. I think I've been in partnership for almost 10 years now. So we have cultivated this friendship and partnership over time. And she and her crew have often attended NAMM because they're on the West Coast, and I've supported it from afar. So the pandemic has given me the opportunity to now attend here in New York without leaving New York. So while it's not the same experience, of course, it's been great to be invited to be a featured guest and a featured performer.
Absolutely. So this year would have been, so last year was my 10th year
Ah,
with NAMM. So you know what? This is another year of NAMM. So this is my 11th year, being affiliated with NAMM. So I'm always honored to be a part of this event every year.
hmm.
And I think that they've done a really outstanding job with their content, how they set it all up, how they delivered it and executed it this week so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all doing the best that we can do under the circumstances. And, in our live stream today, there was this moment of panic of like, oh, NAMM doesn't have the right link, even though we checked it. And should we go live on Facebook anyway or not? And then it all got sorted out because I've got a great tech tech guy, hi Todd, um, on the other side of the country, and we just we just do the best that we can do. So I think that NAMM's efforts have been really noble. And I know that the feedback has been that many people have been able to connect in ways that they haven't necessarily in real life. Of course, the real life version is much more fun and much more interactive, but that sometimes it's hard because there's such a crowd to be able to connect to the people that you want to. And so there have been some connections made that wouldn't have been possible in past years. So I see that as a positive, and maybe in the future there can be a combination offering.
I will tell you that taking a year off from in-person NAMM has been this has been very stress-free for me. In-person NAMM is it's kind of stressful. It's a lot to take in. It's information overload.
Yeah,
but
I've been at many conferences, so I haven't attended NAMM, but I understand that overload experience. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the instruments that you play and that you featured this week during your performance.
Absolutely. So We Play Well Together is the exclusive North American distributor for 3 main companies. And those companies are Metal Sounds, which is a company that makes metal instruments. They make tongue drums like this.
Is that called a hand pan?
No, but they do make hand pans too. So their hand pans are called the space drum, and they look like spaceships, and they're a version of the hand pan. And then they also make these, which are tongue drums. So they're similar in that they're metal, but they are cut out with little tongues here, whereas the hand pan is hammered. So it's hammered steel, and this is here. I'll give you a little taste. So they're these really, really beautifully crafted metal instruments. And then she also distributes Hokkema kalimbas, which are these beautiful handmade kalimbas in Germany. So the block kalimbas, and then the sansula, which is a kalimba that's mounted on a drum head, which produces a wah-wah effect. So these are really becoming quite popular. And then Feel Tone, which is the company that I've been a brand ambassador for the past 10 years, which is also based in Germany. And Feel Tone creates monochords and also tongue drums, a different kind of tongue drum. And this is a wooden tongue drum. So you can see that there are slits cut out of it. And it has a very different kind of quality. And these instruments are intuitive to play, so people who have no musical training can pick them up. You can play them with children, or children can play them rather, and then accomplished percussionists can just wail on these things and make. One of our other brand ambassadors, Brandon Blake, he did another live stream this week, and he does live looping with these instruments and the kalimbas and the metal tongue drums, and puts them on looping and just makes these amazing percussive soundscapes with them. So the Feel Tone instruments, the line of instruments it has to do with feeling the tone. So that's the idea, feel the tone, and that you can play the instruments, but that you can also feel them on your body. So imagine a version of this that is huge, that's so big that even you could lay down upon it. And then I would take a big old mallet and go bum, 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 and do this on these enormous wooden tongues. And then you would feel the sympathetic vibrations in your physical body. It's incredibly relaxing.
That's a thing that really happens.
That is a thing, yeah. And they started experimenting with this. So this company has been in existence since 1982. And they wanted to make intuitive instruments that anyone could play, that would empower anyone to make music. And then they started making these bigger furniture pieces, and sound and music therapists got a hold of them and said, these are amazing. And they started using them in clinics and with people who have suffered trauma, who have had negative experiences of being in a body. And so to put them on one of these Feel Tone instruments and have them have a positive experience of being in the body is sometimes a revelation for people who have suffered abuse and trauma. Okay. Yeah, and so then out of these instruments, then they started looking for other kinds of instruments where you could feel the tone. and started incorporating the monochords. So a monochord is also a wooden instrument that has strings on it and that you strum. And it's also intuitive. So it's not an instrument that you have to study for a long time to be able to play like a harp. It's a drone instrument. It's very simple, but they're really, really powerful because they create a cascade of harmonics. And those harmonics are very soothing. And so they can be used for meditation, and then they can also be placed on the body. So we have large versions of monochords too that you can lay upon tables and chairs. And there's a hybrid instrument called a sound wave, which is a combo. So it has a tongue drum on one side and a monochord on the other. And it's this beautifully designed curved instrument. So you're on this wooden sound wave. And then we have all of the line of the monochords themselves. And I'm going to move my camera around a little bit. I have 9 of them in my
Wow.
studio here. So I've got all of these here. And then this really big one, I can adjust this here so you can see all the way up to the ceiling. Is this, and this is a 3-in-1 instrument. So it has a monochord on the back, and then it has a koto, and then it has these melody strings, which mine is organized in a rolling minor pentatonic scale. They're totally customizable, so you can tune them to any scale that you want. And these are the most popular ones. These are called monolinas. So you can place this on a stand. Like you can see behind me, I've got different size stands. And then you can also take it off the stand and you can place it on the body. So before coronavirus, I used to have one of these in a bag, in a fitted bag, which they make, on my shoulder on the subway all the time. And I would take it to the different centers that I worked at. I worked at a clinical health center here in New York City, and the New York Open Center, and several different alternative health centers, but also mainstream medical clinics were starting to be open to this sort of thing because they found that stress is such a thing, and that these instruments can really instantly help people relax in a way that meditation is sometimes hard for people to access. So these, yeah, I don't know how well it comes through the Instagram here.
Has this type of instrument ever been introduced into like an Alzheimer's environment?
That's a good question. I will ask them. I know that they've been used all over the world in many, many different clinical settings. So I wouldn't be surprised. I personally haven't used them in that setting. I have used them in retirement homes here in New York City. And I've found that some of the combination of the instruments allow people to feel a relief from arthritis, and that some of the retirees feel very engaged and they come alive, and I've had really positive experiences with both elderly and really young children. So, but that's a good question. I will ask Fieldtone about that and
I
get
may
back to you.
volunteer with the Alzheimer's Association up here in Minnesota, and I would love to direct them in that direction towards that instrument.
Yeah, I mean, I do know, while it's not my area of expertise, I do know that music connects people to memory and to their brain in a way that language sometimes falls away, but the music allows them to connect. So my assumption would be that these instruments would be very positive, and also because they're general in a beautiful way. Like, it's not creating a specific melody. It's creating an interval of a fifth, which is a very stabilizing ratio for the ear and for the body. And so just the physical sensation of that fifth, which is very supportive, I don't know that it would bring people's memory back, but I'm quite sure it would bring about a feeling of safety and peace. Yeah.
Absolutely. You talked about how this was a part of your everyday life is before the pandemic, but how has this changed since the pandemic, and how you've had to change up your routine?
Yeah, well, I have been so grateful for not only for these instruments, but for the community that has been assembled around these instruments. So when you are by yourself in a pandemic, unfortunately, I enjoy my own company, so I feel like I've been in a better position than many people. But I'm in an apartment, not a house somewhere with a backyard, like a 2-bedroom apartment in Manhattan, um, and when you go for a long period without physical touch, it can be um, it can be very upsetting and depriving for people. And what's so amazing about these instruments, I'm going to grab one here, one of the little ones, you can actually play them on yourself. So you can actually lay down on a sofa or a bed and put it on top of you and
Okay.
strum it, or even just hug it kind of next to it. And you can feel this physical sensation coming through the body of the wood. And wow, that's comforting. I mean, the night of the election, when everything was so polarized and everybody's yelling and I'm listening to the news report, I was just laying with this going, breathe, listening to NPR and okay, breathe.
Very
Yeah, you're still
soothing.
here. Yeah. So that's one way that they've just been amazing companions. They're also all of the We Play Well Together instruments are amazing for getting unplugged. And I've been so grateful for technology because Zoom and Facebook and or FaceTime rather has been my life keeping in contact with my family. But we're all on screen overload, and our nervous system just ends up getting really out of control. And so having instruments that are purely acoustic, where you can unplug and play, it allows you to return to be in the moment in a way that even reading a book or writing or like doing other things, you're still in the mind, but having a moment of just, playing you can even play these percussively too. And there've been moments when I've been really upset, and you can do self-therapy
Right.
as a way of like, I am so frustrated, and if I don't have a way to get it out, I'm going to yell at the customer service guy when I'm trying to update my internet, or whatever poor innocent person happens to be there when I'm freaking out. I need to acknowledge that I'm upset and scared, and that there's a lot of unknown. And so these are instruments you can lovingly abuse a little bit, and they're totally happy to take that.
Right.
So it's been very cathartic. And then the third way that's been really wonderful is that we started a monochord meetup in May, that Gabrielle with We Play Well Together sponsored, and we've been meeting once a week all of these weeks since May. And then we just opened it up to our international community. So once a week we get on Zoom and we play the monochord for a bit. And it's everybody has different tunings. They have different models, different tunings, so we can't necessarily play in real time. But one person from the community facilitates, gives an exercise, or shows how they use the monochord. And then we turn off the mics and the computer, and for 7 minutes together we play the monochord. And then we come back together and we talk about what came up for us. And many people have told us how meaningful that's been in this period of time. And it's been meaningful for us too, that we have more time than we used to. And so we have the ability to offer something like that and to organize it. And we've been blown away by how many different ways there are to play this instrument. So it's it's a drone. It has all these notes that are the same, and then it has an octave and a fifth, and then it has a pentatonic scale on the top, which you can tune to a minor or a major pentatonic, or an alternative scale if you want. You can even add extra bridges and do a diatonic 7-note scale. And there's a few different parameters like speed, pressure, rhythm, where the string is being divided to bring out different harmonics. But within those parameters, there's endless ways of playing this instrument. So we find people playing it percussively, using their voice, using it for chant, And so that's been really rewarding. And I am authorized to teach training for the monochord. And the training was created by the German folks. So Ingo Böhme, who is the founder of the instrument, or the creator of the instrument and the builder, he is married to Martina Gläser-Böhme, who's a German woman who's developed this beautiful set of trainings. But she doesn't speak English, so she authorized me to teach her training. I lived in Berlin for a while, so I speak some German and enough to translate and to understand how she's teaching and to do a similar version. So we have these classes that used to be in real life, but now are online. So that's been wonderful too, that people who want to do a deeper dive, that they can do the online trainings here with me. But yeah, we've been quite surprised that even though we have these training series, the people in our monochord meetup show up and have totally new and innovative ways to use this instrument.
So you've definitely piqued my interest on these
Yeah.
instruments. Now, can someone like myself in the media join you on your Zoom
Sure. Now
for an experience?
you can't play the monochord.
No,
So
but just to
that's
tune in.
so for those 7 minutes, you would just be sitting there and hanging out and meditating or humming or whatever you want to do. But yeah, you're welcome to do that. You're welcome to do that. I'm also though going to be doing more live streams, which is more for the public to listen to the monochords. And it's taken us such a long time to figure out how to mic these instruments and send them through the internet. They're very difficult to get the sound right because it's such a delicate sound quality. Like it's easy to just hear the fundamental tone through the Instagram, but to really mic it so that you can hear the nuance and all the overtones, which is the magic of this instrument and the full frequency range. We have a binaural microphone and then a condenser microphone. I have individual contact mics to get the low end. So it's quite a complicated setup. And behind the scenes, I've got all these wires and a couple mixing boards and then a mixer online. So it's Todd Boston is an amazing musician and audio engineer, and he has been helping me to get ready for this event. And he's also doing his own event for NAMM on Thursday, talking about the hand pan instruments. So please check out his live event as well.
And hopefully I'll be able to talk to Todd too.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. And so he's great. And so it's been some weeks and weeks and weeks to try to figure it out. And now it's rocking and people love the sound today, and I was thrilled with that. So I will be doing more public facing things, probably more on Facebook Live. I may do some Instagram Live, but I can't get the whole sound system into the phone the way I can into the computer. So I may be playing like, a monochord by itself, but to get like the whole range of them and the reverb and having them playing together, you need to hear it through the bigger sound system. So I will let you know when that happens. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So how can people find out more about you and your music, your musicianship, and all of this? Where can you direct them if they want to find out more information on you?
Well, I would say for now, just follow me on Instagram, which is at Joule Ladara. And I've had an interesting journey myself. I've done many different things in my life. I'm a trained classical singer, so I've sung as a professional opera singer. And then I have done techno opera. So I worked with producers in Berlin and had a time in my 20s where I was singing in nightclubs, opera to techno music. Nice. And then I got into recording and to working with acoustic instruments. And then I had a bit of an illness for a couple of years and had to just kind of level out and not do a whole lot for a bit. And sometimes in our life we think like, why is this happening? This is the worst thing in the world. But that illness actually happened ahead of the coronavirus time, so that by the time coronavirus came around, I was super healthy, super strong. And I feel like I was super ready for this time period. And I've been able to be strong and take care of other people who have had a much harder adjustment time. So I haven't done a whole lot of recording with these instruments. And that's one of my goals for this year is to make an album and to have some more public things. I've done concerts for the past, 8 years here in New York City. So without even like going to the recording studio, I had a concert series and we did this, sound baths. I was doing sound baths before it was a thing here, and doing workshops. So it was much more of an in real life experience that I would do here in Manhattan. I also produced a retreat in Hawaii. So this time period for me is now about creating more digital content. And so follow me on Instagram. And as my new website comes out next month and I have some more recordings and videos to put up there, you'll hear more about me.
Right on.
Yeah.
Backtracking a little bit. So how did music come into your life? I mean, how did the love of music come into your life?
Yeah, I have been a singer, a vocalist since I was a little kid. Although I was very shy as a child, I used to like to sing to the wind and the ocean and the trees. But then my mother would ask me to sing for relatives, and I would say no, and I would run away. And then as a teenager, I got into theater, and I loved musical theater. And I thought that I would be on Broadway someday, but then my voice was very classical, not very Broadway. So I went down the classical music training path, but I found that the world of classical music was so competitive. It was like a competitive sport. And so while I loved the music and still do, I didn't really fit into that world. And so finding this community where it's about making music to feel good and to connect with other people, it aligns more with who I am as a person. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the time you spent with me. You've educated me a whole bunch, and got me very interested in these instruments. So I look forward to hearing more from you, and down the road with this music.
Thank you. I have a couple more things to say. One is
Absolutely.
Please follow We Play Well Together on
Yep.
Instagram. We're trying to grow her following. And what's great about the We Play Well Together account is we're constantly featuring other people. So if you have any of these instruments and you're using them, like we'll repost you and talk about you. And also, We Play Well Together is giving away instruments. Like if you look at the NAMM thing where there's giveaways, there's a lot of like free magazine downloads and stuff that's like not really a value. Like We Play Well Together is giving away a tinkatong, a kalimba, like a tongue drum, like several really, really amazing things. And it's an Instagram challenge. So you're invited to make a post about why you want the instrument. And yeah, Gabrielle, we're growing her following. So there's not a whole lot of competition. So if you would like an instrument, I highly, highly recommend you make a post about why you would like an instrument and tag at We Play Well Together.
I will definitely do that.
You should. You should.
I will.
Aw, thank
Anything
you,
else that
Matty.
you'd like that we haven't covered? Anything else?
Gosh. Well, I will say that all of these instruments, including feel tone, hokema, and metal sounds, they're small instrument makers, and Gabrielle really chooses with care who she wants to work with. We asked her, is it the instrument? Is it the relationship with the instrument makers that allow you to choose who you're going to work with, or is it the instruments themselves? And she said that it's that they're totally intertwined. That the relationships with people reflect the integrity of how the instruments are made. So there's a lot of things that you can find for cheap on Amazon that are made in various places, but all of these companies, they try as much as possible to use sustainable products. Hokema is all run on solar power. Feel Tone is implementing a system where they'll be completely plastic free. So there's a lot of heart and a lot of care that goes into these instrument makers, and that's why these particular companies are the ones that we import here in North America.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. And we can go back, I believe, and watch your performance from today.
Yeah.
On the NAMM app.
Mm-hmm. I
So
think
I
that
encourage
it's
people
up.
to do that.
Yeah. Please do. It'd be great to see you there.
Well,
Thank
Joule,
you,
thank
Matty,
you
for
very
your time
much
today.
for taking the time out of your evening to do this with me, and I'm glad that we got to do this.
You got it. Thanks so much. Hope to see you again soon.
All right, MattyRocks and Joule Ladara, closing it out. NAMM,
Damn,
Believe in Music
2021.
Week.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Will.
much. Bye.
MattyRocks out.